I've been to around 60 over countries for your information over the over decades, traveling every week and trying to come back by weekend to spend some time with my family. I travel very fast, at a very fast pace, because I have to be back as soon as possible. So I go to US the last few years 8 times a year. 8 times a year, and every trip is a round trip. That means I never come with a return ticket. Every ticket is a single ticket. And sometimes, most of the time, we burn the ticket because we change direction. All of a sudden, we have to move to another place. So you can imagine my experience of dealing with the spa owners, dealing with the doctors, okay? And in the medical or scientific conferences or the beauty conferences, okay? There are also some beauty conferences where doctors are also very active, okay? So, and same for the beauticians, they also travel around the world. So what I can say is that the beauty industry is under scrutiny in the sense that a lot of things cannot be done the beauty way because of the FDA, okay? But same for the aesthetic. Even in Malaysia, aesthetic doctors, some of them cannot perform certain things. For beauticians to do a medical device, they don't consider as medical device. It's more like a wellness device or beauty device. But the same device of a laser or a pico laser or HIFU, and it's done by a doctor, is a medical device. So there was a lot of a limitation even for doctors in Malaysia. Okay, I believe it may be the same in some other countries, but in Thailand and in Philippines, I noticed every doctor can do aesthetics. It's different from in Malaysia, okay? But the important thing is not just the aesthetic. Please understand, the aesthetic is the treatment at the clinic. If you are going to run the clinic and you are thinking of just providing the service, it's very time consuming, okay? It's like a doctor having to do a liposuction. How many liposuction you can do a day? You cannot be doing every day, so you'll be totally exhausted. And what about the rest, the beautician or some of the doctors who have to perform facials, beauticians, or aesthetic treatments or something for body? It requires a lot of energy and time. So you cannot just make money out of providing the service. That means to say you have to make money in terms of selling good products. The products must be good, because if the product is not good, you cannot sustain. And the customer has a freedom of choice. The customer is always having a lot of choices here. Why must I choose you? What is so special about you? There's so many beauticians in the market, in the market. There's so many doctors providing aesthetic treatment just like any of you, So why must I choose you? There's a lot of things you have to keep the clients to be loyal to you. Okay, the only way I believe through my own experience of being good with people, being real with people, is that we have to be humble, we have to be kind, we have to be caring, and we have to treat them with a heart. I always tell my own team of medical doctors, treat the patient as if they are part of your family members, as if he's your parents, as if he's your siblings. You have to give the same attention, because the customer will feel it. Because the patient always will come back and tell me, hey, I prefer this doctor. I prefer that nurses. I prefer this beautician. They will always tell, because customer have a right to say everything, because the customer is always right. Okay, so we have to get the feedback, and I always will ask the clients to give feedback. Even for this lecture or this presentation, it's done impromptu. I didn't do any preparation, and all I want to say is that it's good to give a view. Whether it's a bad view, it's fine. We have to take it. If someone say we are lousy, we have to take it and we have to find in what way we are lousy. Same for the products. In what way our products are not working, So this is something we have to learn. We cannot be saying that we are the best. We can only let others say you are one of the best. And I will never say we are the best. I will always let people say we are one of the best in the market. That is good enough, because you don't have to be the best. The important thing is the client, the service to them is important, the caring part. Now, let me tell you about myself. For the last 36 years, maybe, I do not sleep a lot. I probably sleep around 4 hours a day. Okay, and because of COVID, since March 18 in Malaysia last year, I think I'm sleeping at 7 or 8 or 9 or 11 a.m. Can you imagine the amount of time I have to work? Because I have to entertain Europe, okay? We start from 6 p.m., 6 p.m. European calls start to come, or sometimes even 3 p.m. And I cannot entertain any call during the working hours because in the office, we also have to meet a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of visitors. And then US call, I have to entertain every doctors from 12. We do have our people to take care of the doctors. We do have our executives for taking care of the clients. But you have to understand, sometimes you need a personalized situation here. The doctor insists, I want to speak to Mike. Although my people had already come up with a prescription, but he still say, Mike, can I have a word with you? It is because the element of trust. Because they know that if they speak to me and I say, yes, you should take this, they know very well that you should be working. Because on my side, I will never say something which work if you don't work. It doesn't matter it comes from us or it comes from some other people. The important thing is the customer must be comfortable with us. The customer must like it, and it works for the customer. If you don't work for the customer, don't do it, because you get a bad name, your reputation will be affected, and they will not come back. Customers are very sensitive. When we handle the VVIPs, they're so sensitive. So I always have to remember that we have to know their taste. We know what they are. It's just like all the VVIPs. We know what they want. Before they come, what do they like to eat? We prepare everything. What sort of vehicle we should be putting down there for them to receive them in the airport. We make in such a way that our VVIPs coming to Malaysia or even to any parts of the world, we make sure that the rooms, they can check in immediately. They don't even have to register. That means we arrange all the registration for the clients. Okay, and some of them are so important. We even send our managers, even from Malaysia. I may send a manager here from Malaysia. I may send one from China. We have managers in China to accompany the VVIP clients. We pay for the ticket of our staff because they're paying a high cost service. So you obviously have to give them, you are charging a higher price. You have to make sure you give the higher service. Of course, there are also customers who can't afford treatments. Are we going to say that as medical providers or even as wellness providers, oh, you don't have money, sorry, we can't treat you? No, we can't do that. Okay, we also have to treat those who can't afford. Okay, there is a solution for everything. If that guy cannot afford a Rolls Royce, you can always give him a Bentley. If he can't afford a Bentley, you go on to an S-Class or a BMW 7 Series. You go down, you can give a Honda Accord. You go down and give a Toyota Corolla. In the worst scenario, you can even give a QQ car, which is maybe $2,000 compared to a Rolls Royce, it's going to be $2 million, and USD, okay, or what. Now, important thing is that for those we can give a better quality, they say, oh, I'm rich, I have all the money, I want the best. And I would always say that, okay, let's say you have a fatty liver, and you don't need to have the best treatment. You don't need a stem cell for fatty liver. Fatty liver can be easily done with a few $100 treatment. Now, let's say the clients cannot afford the treatment. Now, apart from the stem cells, we have the peptides, okay? So the peptides are not expensive. These are stem cells peptides, okay? So they are sold at quite a much lower price. And with a much lower price, everyone can afford. Just like in Malaysia, at one time we said everyone can travel with a low-cost Asia. You can go to any parts of the world because the ticket is cheaper. Okay, so it's the same condition here. It's just that certain things, you want a faster result, you pay more. But for certain things, you can't afford the result, you can't afford to pay so much, you can still have the result, we come at a longer time. This is what I would say we should be working. Okay, now the next thing is that the wellness industry is doing well. For your information, the wellness industry is doing extremely well. The beauty industry have to add the wellness into the industry. Same for the medical doctors, they have to add the aesthetic. With the aesthetics, they have add the wellness industry inside. Because you have to understand, we are not just going to treat a person to look good from the outside. What's the point of looking good from the outside if the internal part is not good? Okay, we have to treat from within too. Okay, that means to say our organs, the 220 organs of them are aging. We have to treat the organs to look good. Okay, because if the organs are aging, it's quite difficult to maintain the vitality and the youthfulness in the person, right? Because you can do a lot of aesthetic treatment, but at the end of the day, there's a limitation. So you have to also to improve, let's say for the skin, it's not just to do aesthetic for the skin, you have to give them some supplements which work for the skin, okay? There's some skin stem cell peptides which work very well for the skin. You can also, in a way, treat them with some form of other treatments, okay? The wellness kind of treatments. So the wellness kind of treatment do have some other devices for wellness in the clinic, but a lot of time it's more on the personalized, individualized consultation with the clients and the patient, okay? Where the doctors or the physicians or even the beauticians can promote some nutritional stuff. There's nothing wrong for beauticians who are taught or trained to also supply supplements. It's allowed. Okay, they can't do injectable. It doesn't mean they cannot do the supplements. They can. Okay, so look into that. Wellness is so important. And to be honest with you, I make my money first with supplements. I started with supplements before we moved to therapeutics. Okay, we moved with therapeutics at a much lower pace, but the supplements shoot up so fast. We are the first people to introduce placenta to the world. Those days, no one talked about placenta. Even in Malaysia, no one talked about placenta. And then we introduced the MF3 placenta. Those days, it wasn't even called MF3 placenta. But it was the first in Malaysia, the first in Hong Kong, the first in many parts of the world. And it remains the only one in the world which is made in Switzerland until today. Everyone can claim they are made in Switzerland, but they have no evidence of a manufacturing plant producing in Switzerland. Neither do they have any certification from the Swiss authorities that the product is made in Switzerland. Any one of you can rent an office in Switzerland or in Germany and claim to be made in Switzerland. Okay, but these days customers are very smart. It's not only the doctors are smart or the beauticians are smart, the customers are always smart too. They check. Okay, they Google map you, they check your background, they do DUD. You say something is good, they will check. Okay, a lot of products may be made in China or it may be made in some other places or even in Malaysia or Singapore, and then they say it's made in Switzerland or made in France or made in Germany. Okay, in terms of therapeutics, injectables, a lot of them are made in Germany. If you want good stuff, Germans stand for technology. I would totally say Germans are very different. You will notice that the good cars like Mercedes and BMW or printing devices, machineries, they all come from Germany. So I will always watch that for supplements or for skincare, I go with Swiss. For injectables, I go with Germans. And that's where we focus all our products in Germany and Switzerland alone, where most of our products are made there. Okay, totally made in Europe with Europe certifications. Okay, now the important thing now is that how are you going to increase the sales? You can still work at home. You can still promote some new products. The new products must get the attention of the clients. That means it must be innovative. It must be different. Because if it's not innovative, you can't sell. Because if somebody else is selling the same similar products, it becomes very competitive. You have to understand that. Okay? I always think that you must be so different that people have to buy from you. So to be different means you must have some outstanding features.